For an ad-free listening experience, please check out Sleep Tight Premium. A link can be found in our show notes. Thank you. Hello, I'm Cheryl, and this is Sleep Tight Relax, a weekly bedtime show for anyone who needs a good sleep. In our short story, the children of Georgetown are excited when Mr. Crumble, a kind baker, opens a shop in their town. He creates a variety of magical loaves, each unique and enticing. As the children buy the bread, some choose to hoard their loaves, while others share generously. Tommy, who decides to eat a large loaf alone, finds his bread sour, while children who share their smaller loaves find them surprisingly delightful. Through Mr. Crumble's gentle wisdom, the children learn valuable lessons about the joy of sharing and the true spirit of community. Before we listen to our story, let's get cozy. Use our imagination, and become relaxed. First, find a cozy place where you can be comfortable. Maybe it's your bed or a soft rug. Make sure you feel snug and safe. Close your eyes gently and take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, and then slowly exhale through your mouth. With your eyes closed, imagine a beautiful, quiet street in the little town of Georgetown. It's a crisp, cool evening, and the trees have many green leaves. The streets are quiet, and there's a gentle breeze whispering through the leaves, carrying the sweet aroma of freshly baked bread. Can you smell it? In your mind, see yourself walking towards a quaint little shop with a twinkling sign that says, "Spring Treats for Sale." Notice the warm glow of light spilling out onto the cobblestone street from the shop's windows. Imagine opening the door to Mr. Crumble's bakery. As you step inside, you are greeted by the delicious smell of baking bread. Yummy. See Mr. Crumble at his table, kneading and shaping dough into loaves of all shapes and sizes. The warmth from the oven makes the room cozy, and you feel happy and at peace. Take a deep breath in and let the warm scent of the bread fill your senses. Hear the soft humming of Mr. Crumble as he works, crafting each loaf with care and love. Feel the warmth from the oven cover you like a soft blanket. Now, imagine choosing a small, round loaf with raisins. Think about how you would share this loaf with a friend. As you tear off a piece of the bread, feel the texture, soft and warm, and share it with your friend. Notice how sharing brings joy, not just to your friend, but to you as well. As you enjoy this moment, think about how sharing has made the bread even sweeter. Reflect on how simple acts of kindness, like sharing bread, can fill our hearts and connect us with others. Take one more deep breath, feeling the joy and warmth of the bakery surround you. Hold on to that feeling of happiness and kindness. Slowly wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing some movement back to your body. Now that you are relaxed, we will start our story. Mr. Crumble's Magic Loaves. In the little town of Georgetown, excitement bubbled among the children when Mr. Crumble, the cheerful baker, opened his delightful little shop. Hanging above the door was a sign that twinkled in the sun. Spring treats for sale. Word spread like wildfire, and soon the streets filled with the echoing sounds of laughter and the patter of little feet rushing to see. Mr. Crumble, quiet but always smiling, washed his hands under the old windmill spout, drying them in the crisp April breeze. He then set up a long white table outside his shop and began shaping his magical dough. Curious eyes watched closely as he crafted big, hearty loaves, tiny round ones peppered with raisins, and others with unique patterns or fun shapes, unlike anything the children had seen before. As he worked, Mr. Crumble hummed a gentle tune. Buy my loaves, both brown and white. Each one is a child's delight. Who shares their bread with friends in need, eats with joy and not with greed. The children whispered excitedly among themselves. I'm getting the biggest one, boasted Tommy, the oldest among them. I can buy whatever I want, and I don't have to share if I don't want to. Little Emma, the smallest of the group, frowned and said softly, But that seems greedy, Tommy. How can you eat such a big loaf all by yourself? Tommy shrugged. If I buy it, it's mine, and I can do whatever I like with it. Emma turned away, looking disappointed and a bit sad. Meanwhile, Sammy, one of the younger boys, tugged at Emma's sleeve. I've got some money, he whispered. We could share one of those small raisin loaves. They look yummy, and it's more fun to eat together. Emma's face lit up. Yes, let's do that. You can have the bigger half. As Mr. Crumble slid the last of the loaves into the giant oven, the children drew in closer, their faces glowing from the heat and anticipation. With a clang that echoed like a bell, Mr. Crumble shut the oven, and the children burst into joyful cheers. Mr. Crumble then stepped back, his eyes twinkling as he sang another cheerful tune. Clang, clang, my ovens glow. Soon these treats will be ready to show. Run and play, enjoy the sun. Return when the baking is done. The children scattered, some playing hide and seek among the blooming flower beds, others chasing butterflies over the fresh green grass, their laughter mingling with the sounds of chirping birds. A few dashed home, eager to fetch coins for their very own spring loaf. As the day wore on, the aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air, drawing the children back to Mr. Crumble's shop with their pockets jingling with coins. They gathered around the white table, eagerly awaiting the moment they could claim their treats. This is mine, declared Tommy, laying down his money and grabbing the largest loaf. He darted away, eager to enjoy his prize alone. Following him, another boy known as the impatient boy demanded briskly, Give me my loaf. This is mine, and give it to me now. Can't you see my money? Hurry up. Mr. Crumble, with a steady hand and unwavering patience, handed the impatient boy his loaf without a word. One by one, other children rushed forward, some pushing and shoving, grabbing their chosen loaves and running off without a word of thanks. The scene grew a bit chaotic as the strongest and quickest took their picks, leaving some of the smaller children watching wistfully, unable to reach through the crowd. But the crowd eventually thinned, and a gentle boy stepped up. With all the coins he had, he bought several of the smaller loaves and distributed them among the little ones who hadn't managed to get any. His kindness didn't go unnoticed. Smiles spread among the faces of the children who received his gifts. Emma and Sammy, holding hands, picked a small raisin loaf together. As they broke it, they found it surprisingly larger inside than it had seemed outside, filled with delicious raisins that made their eyes light up with joy. Meanwhile, Tommy, who had taken his loaf to a quiet corner, found his bread hard and tasteless. "This loaf is sour," he complained loudly, returning to Mr. Crumble. "It's your fault for selling bad bread." But Mr. Crumble looked gently but firmly at Tommy and replied, "Did you not choose this loaf yourself and choose to eat it alone? You cannot blame the bread for your choices." Soon others who had snatched their loaves and eaten alone came back, grumbling that their bread was tough and unappealing. "Look at that boy," they pointed at the gentle boy, whose bread seemed light and tasty. "His bread is good. We want the same." Mr. Crumble shook his head with a mild smile. "You chose quickly, thinking only of yourselves. These are special loaves, meant to be shared in the spirit of the season. They taste best when eaten with a generous heart. Next time, perhaps, choose not just with your eyes, but your heart." The grumblers walked away, their heads hanging a bit, thinking over Mr. Crumble's words. But the gentle boy and the small children, including Emma and Sammy, sat together, sharing their loaves and laughing joyfully. Their bread seemed just as sweet as cake, as rich as the best pastry they could imagine, all because they shared it with love and kindness. As the day ended, Mr. Crumble packed up his table, cleaned up his area, and prepared to close. The children, their bellies full and hearts warm, waved goodbye, promising to return. Mr. Crumble smiled, knowing he had taught them a valuable lesson about generosity and thankfulness. With the last light of the day fading, Mr. Crumble drove away, his cart filled with empty pans and a heart full of joy. The children, content and tired from their day's adventures, hurried home, the memory of the sweet bread and sweeter companionship lingering in their minds. The rustle of the wind through the trees whispered like a soft lullaby, and the town of Georgetown settled down for the night, a little richer in spirit thanks to the visit from the kind baker. If you are still awake, I would like you to whisper to yourself or just say in your mind, "I create happiness for myself and others when I share and care. I am grateful for what I have and happy to share it with friends. I spread a little joy every time I share, just like the sweet bread from Mr. Crumble's bakery. I am calm, relaxed, and peaceful. Good night. Sleep tight.